It has long been mankind's dream to reach out into space and touch another world. Few believed that such a dream could ever be achieved. But with increasing knowledge and faith, man kept reaching until at last he touched the moon. The incredible dream had become a reality. Today, men of vision are reaching out with dreams of making a better world. These dreams must be fulfilled if mankind is to survive. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has such a dream, one that is taking form, a dream that is becoming a reality, the dream of Yanbu. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is a desert nation, stretching from the Arabian Gulf on the east to the Red Sea on the west. Saudi Arabia's vast oil and gas resources have played a major role in transforming the kingdom into a modern, internationally prominent nation. Thus far, Saudi Arabia's petroleum export industry has been located exclusively along the Arabian Gulf. In 1974, the kingdom, as part of its industrial development program, launched a study to establish a petroleum export and industrial center on the Red Sea. After extensive research, a site was selected in the Yanbu area. Then in September 1975, His Majesty King Khalid ibn Abdulaziz, by royal decree, established the Royal Commission for Jubail and Yanbu for the express purpose of planning the design and construction of an infrastructure to support a modern industrial complex. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Fahd ibn Abdulaziz was appointed chairman of the Royal Commission Board of Directors, with His Excellency Sheikh Hisham Nazer, Minister of Planning, as vice chairman. Other distinguished members of the board are the Honorable Mohammed Abal Khail, Minister of Finance and National Economy, the Honorable Dr. Ghazi Al-Kosebi, Minister of Industry and Electricity, the Honorable Dr. Fayez Ibrahim Badr, President of the General Ports Authority, His Excellency Abdulaziz Kandura, Director General of MENA Project, and His Excellency Khaled Alil Turki. His Excellency Engineer Sami Mosley was appointed Director General of the Yanbu Project. The leadership of the Royal Commission for Jubail and Yanbu is dedicated to the goal of providing opportunities within the kingdom for the development of Saudi scientists, engineers, and technicians who will expand and diversify the nation's economic base into a more permanent industrial foundation. Providing modern industrial facilities is the first major step toward the accomplishment of this goal. On this stretch of undeveloped desert, some 350 kilometers north of Jeddah, the Royal Commission will build an infrastructure system to provide support facilities for a hydrocarbon complex, which will include a crude oil refinery, a natural gas liquids plant, and petrochemical plants. There will be an area set aside for mineral-based industries, such as a steel mill and an aluminum smelter. In addition, there will be light manufacturing and fabrication industries to support the industrial complex. Harbor development will provide extensive berthing accommodations and deep water loading facilities for very large crude oil and NGL vessels. A community is planned to support the industrial complex workers and their families. The Royal Commission's objective is to create an infrastructure system which will support the industrial complex and at the same time be responsive to the cultural, social, religious, and environmental needs of its projected 150,000 community residents. For the task of converting this plan into a tangible reality, the Royal Commission selected Saudi Arabian Parsons Limited, a Saudi corporation owned equally by the Ralph M. Parsons Company of Pasadena, California, and REDEC, the Saudi Research and Development Corporation of Jeddah. A comprehensive master plan was developed for an infrastructure system which would systematically integrate development of the basic industries to ensure a balanced growth pattern. A construction support program would convert the desert job site into a base of operations and a source of essential services to support construction of the permanent infrastructure. The program called for a beachhead to expedite the unloading and storage of construction materials and supplies, a two-berth pier for mooring and unloading supply ships, a barge-mounted water desalination plant, a transit storage area, haul roads connecting Pioneer Port with all sections of the complex, a pipe staging area, 2 temporary camps, and 5 construction camps to accommodate the workers. A power plant, a sewage treatment plant, and tank farm would provide utilities for the site. Outside the security fence, water wells, and an airport would provide additional support facilities. On July 12, 1977, the Royal Commission approved start of the construction support program. The plan called for construction of 4,200 linear meters of haul roads, which would connect Pioneer Port with all sections of the complex. A causeway was extended out into the sea to join 2 trestle barges and ultimately the pier. In Singapore, the pier was being fabricated. The pier itself would consist of 3 jack-up barges, each 100 meters long, which would be joined together at the job site to form a 300-meter pier, capable of accommodating ships up to 72,000 deadweight tons. The first pier barge is launched. Within a few days, it was loaded with equipment and supplies and began the long tow to Yanbu. Construction work on Yanbu's 2 temporary camps was well underway. 6 barracks buildings and support facilities were completed in the first phase of construction. Work on the power generator buildings and sewage treatment plant was underway to provide utilities for the camps. At the same time, additional building sites were being graded and leveled. Since water is a high priority necessity for construction activities, the Saudi Ministry of Agriculture selected drilling locations 70 kilometers from the job site. The Royal Commission's policy of conserving the existing water supplies resulted in a most unusual project. In Osaka, Japan, a plant was under construction that would convert seawater into fresh potable water. The unique aspect of this project was the specification that the entire facility be mounted on a floating barge. This would be the largest floating desalination facility in the world. The new construction support airport is located approximately 50 kilometers north of the Yanbu job site. This 2,400-meter asphalt surfaced runway will be capable of handling aircraft as large as the Boeing 707. On August 24, 1977, a milestone event occurred at the Yanbu job site. The first pier barge arrived. The heavily loaded barge and tug fought their way through 2 severe tropical storms during the long voyage from Singapore, but arrived with all cargo intact. Now, with pier construction material and equipment on hand, a race with time began to complete the causeway for connection to the pier. Using anchors and winches, the Yanbu 1 pier barge was carefully moved into position, and the pilings were raised and made ready for driving. A new technique to drive the pilings was approved by the Royal Commission utilizing a specially designed 35-ton vibrator unit. This would be the first time a vibration unit had ever been used to drive pilings as large as 2 meters in diameter and 48 meters in length. When power was applied, a surge of electrical vibration converted the hollow pier piling into a gigantic drill bit, sinking the piling into a secure base of hard, solid coral. Using the vibrator unit, the elapsed real time from the start of the pile driving operation to the point at which the piling was secured in its coral base took only 1 hour and 5 minutes. When all 10 pilings have been driven, the pier barge will be jacked up and secured in its permanent position. By October 1977, construction of the temporary camps was progressing at a rapid rate. New housing, food service, and utility buildings were springing up daily. A large complex of modern prefab fiberglass housing modules were being erected by a Saudi contractor. The prefabricated sections are manufactured in Saudi Arabia's capital city of Riyadh and transported to the job site by a fleet of trucks. When completed, these units will house over 700 workers. Prefabricated aluminum buildings will be used for food preparation and dining halls, laundry facilities, and warehouses. These lightweight prefab buildings go up quickly and are fully insulated and air-conditioned against the desert heat. By October 1977, the pier at Pioneer Port was completed. The haul road, causeway, and 2-barge trestle were connected to the pier. Two tugboats had arrived from India and were standing by. Mooring space alongside the trestle was prepared for the desal barge. On November 1st, 1977, a group gathered on the pier to witness the arrival of the first ship at Pioneer Port. Yanbu Director General Sammy Mosley and Petromin's Hussein Linjawi joined other government and management officials to be a part of this historic event. Finally, the Garden Venus came into sight. Slowly, the vessel eased up to the dock, dropped her anchors, and maneuvered toward the pier. Within a few minutes, the ship's starboard side pressed the heavy rubber bumpers, and she was docked. The Garden Venus carried a cargo of more than 2,000 steel pipe sections, the beginning of a great new pipeline system that will carry a continuous flow of crude oil and NGL across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. A series of cranes allow the cargo to be unloaded from 3 areas of the ship at the same time. This carefully coordinated unloading operation works like an assembly line. after load of heavy steel tubes ride the flatbed semis across the trestle and down the haul road to the pipe staging area, some 5 kilometers away. By early 1978, temporary camps 1 and 2 were nearing completion. The streets were paved and lighting systems installed. Offices, warehouses, dormitories, dining rooms, and recreation halls were completed, and a modern medical dispensary with a resident doctor has been made available to the workers. The largest single building structure in the camp is the new mosque. The temporary camps were originally designed to house 700 workers, but an expanded construction program requiring a new estimate of 1,400 workers has necessitated an increase of housing accommodations. The Royal Commission has made every effort to provide accommodations that will satisfy the essential needs of each worker. This fiberglass complex provides private accommodations for 40 single-status workers. Electrical power is fed from a nearby generator plant, and fresh water is supplied by the desal barge, now in full operation at Pioneer Port. The barge, with its 3 desalination plants, is capable of supplying 2 million liters of fresh, potable water per day, and is equipped with instrumentation to allow operation from one central location by one operator and one helper on each shift. The first phase of the communication system is now operational. Currently, it is providing direct voice communication between the Yanbu job site and the Jeddah office of the Royal Commission. The nearby pipe staging area has been rapidly filling with pipe joints, which have been arriving in a continuous flow. The storage of these thousands of pipe sections is in preparation for an enormous project that will span the kingdom, a pipeline through which will flow a continuous river of crude oil from the oil fields near the Gulf to the new Yanbu industrial complex on the Red Sea. Beneath the desert lands of Saudi Arabia are the largest known oil reserves in the world. Here in the eastern province, bordering the Arabian Gulf, is the heart of the kingdom's oil operations. The lifeblood of the machine age is pumped from the ground to flow through steel veins into storage tanks for refinery use or export to the far corners of the world. Starting here in the oil fields of Abqaiq, the mammoth crude oil pipeline will begin its long underground journey westward, 1,207 kilometers across the kingdom to its final destination, the industrial complex at Yanbu. A second pipeline, smaller in diameter than the 48-inch crude oil line, but equally important, will carry a steady stream of natural gas liquids captured from the gas-flaring fields of Abqaiq through an underground course parallel to its larger companion across the kingdom to the petrochemical plants at Yanbu. A new pipe joining and coating facility has been built at the Yanbu job site to expedite pipeline construction. Here, the 40-foot pipe joints are welded into 80-foot sections, then coated to protect the metal from the corrosive elements of the soil. The 80-foot coated sections are again stored, ready for use on the pipeline. In February 1978, an event of major importance took place which would mark the beginning of master plan implementation. It began at the Construction Support Airport, now operational under Saudi Arabia's Civil Aviation Department. Director General Sammy Mosley was the first to arrive. Dr. Gaith Perron, chairman of Reddick, and Mr. William Leonard, president of the Ralph M. Parsons Company, arrived. Next came an important group of Saudi Arabian government and business leaders. The arrival of these prominent and distinguished principals from various parts of the kingdom and the world indicate the importance of this occasion. Aboard the last aircraft to arrive was the Minister of Planning and Vice Chairman of the Royal Commission, His Excellency Sheikh Hisham Nasser. His presence signified acknowledgement that the construction support program had progressed to the point where implementation of the permanent infrastructure can begin. To present a personal view of construction achievements, Director General Mosley escorted the minister and his distinguished guests on a tour of the site. The pier was of special interest due to its important function in the development and construction of the permanent infrastructure for the Yanbu Industrial Complex. The desal barge represented a unique solution to a most pressing problem, the availability of an abundant supply of fresh, potable water. After a walking tour of the camp, the distinguished group gathered to witness the award of contracts that would signal the official start of construction on the permanent infrastructure. By January 1979, construction progress was rapidly changing the landscape at Kilometer 19, site of the 1,700-acre permanent construction camps. The tank farm was completed and provides storage facilities for 11 million gallons of potable water and 7 million gallons of diesel fuel. 3 gas turbine generators capable of providing 48 megawatts of power have been installed and are now being tested. When operational, they will supply power for a city of 20,000 people. The celebrated Saudi Arabian artist Abdul Halim Redwi has converted a common water tank into a beautiful impressionistic rendering, which is rapidly becoming recognized as a symbol of progress for the new Yanbu Industrial Complex. A variety of techniques are being used to construct housing accommodations in the permanent camps. L-shaped precast concrete panels are being used to build 500 family-type housing units. Precast concrete tilt-up panels are being used for dormitory-type accommodations, as well as dining halls and ancillary buildings. Another 500 housing units are under construction, utilizing aluminum framing and lightweight composition panels. These structures feature pitched roofs. By far the largest structure in the permanent camp area is the space frame building, which will serve as the on-site offices of the Royal Commission and the Management Services contractor. When completed, this single-story structure will provide 142,000 square feet of usable office space. Another important sector of the permanent construction camp is the communications center. This system includes an Earth receiving station for satellite transmission, which is capable of utilizing either the Atlantic or Indian Ocean satellites. When in operation, the Earth receiving station will be able to transmit and receive telephone and telex communications, as well as receive television transmission. Under the inspiration and strong leadership of the Royal Commission, current construction progress is firmly establishing an infrastructure system capable of supporting a modern industrial complex. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is well on its way to the realization of the dream of Yanbu.